Hello, everybody, and welcome back to F1 TS Hub. We are here on another Sunday night for another episode of the Late Night Talk. So already, Jono, episode 8. Can't believe we've done this many already. The season's going quickly, but welcome alongside me and one of your favorite tracks, or one of your most successful tracks, I should say.
Yeah, an old favourite of mine, and as you say, it's a bit of a milestone in the season, I think, as well. Round six, and it's always one of those milestones you look to get through past Monaco, and well into the European season now.
Question for you before we go into the races, Jono. A lot of drivers, they just despise this track. A lot of leagues obviously don't run Monaco. Uh, Yourself, you've won it, what, 3 times, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was 3 times.
Why do you think drivers despise it so much, or not look forward to it? But obviously, like yourself, you seem to excel.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. I mean, I think even I used to sort of get a bit nervous about league racing at Monaco because just anything can happen. It's often chaos, but I just enjoy driving the circuit, and I think a lot of people just don't enjoy driving Monaco. If you enjoy it, I think you're off to a bit of a head start on the rest anyway. And I was just confident that I could keep it out of the walls, pretty much, if I got a clean race. And I think that allowed me to enjoy myself. I think a lot of guys just go into it thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be a disaster," and yeah, it just puts them into a mindset where they don't look forward to the race at all. But yeah, it wasn't the case for me. But obviously, for a lot of drivers, it's one they just want to get out of the way.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of drivers enjoy most about league racing is battling, overtaking, defending, and I guess it's a track which really doesn't suit that sort of racing.
Yeah, I agree. It's certainly I think it's a really fun time trial track. It's a fun track to lap. Obviously, the barriers all around you feels super high speed, and when you do nail the lap, it's good fun. But yeah, as you say, from a racing spectacle, certainly in real life, it's a complete non-event to be honest. But in the league, it does deliver some overtakes. We did see some pretty exciting overtakes actually in the races a couple of times. So yeah, it's definitely a track that suits league racing better than it suits real F1, I think.
Alrighty, well, let's dive straight in. We do have 4 guests joining us tonight from the Pinnacle tier, both Ferrari drivers and both Mercedes drivers. For those of you who don't know, they're locked in a titan battle between the two teams. So I'm looking forward to asking them a few questions and seeing how things develop whilst we have them all in one party. But first of all, Jono, podium, Dane Start, coming off the back of 4 wins heading into Monaco. It's important to get pole, and he nailed it.
Yeah, he did. He got the job done, and I think he was on the ultra soft tyre by the look of it as well. So good lap by him. 2 tenths clear of the rest, so not miles clear, but to do it on the ultra soft tyre as well, and yeah, to be in that prime spot at Monaco, I bet he was pretty pleased with himself at the end of quali.
His race obviously didn't go to plan from there, but we'll come to that in a second. Jonas up there again. He's having a good season. Bothy Dweller, both of those started on those hypersoft tires. Liam also last week and this week's having some quick performances. It seems like he's gained a bit of pace suddenly.
Yeah, he does seem to be finding his feet. Obviously, we spoke to him last week, didn't we, in the talk show? And he seems like he's building his confidence and getting used to life in F1 TS Hub. And yeah, putting it on the second row again. Good performance.
Awesome. As the race got underway, we had some lag issues at the start from Bothy Dweller, where he was literally on as I was watching it, he was spinning round, but he then went back into 6th place. I think it was halfway around the lap, so that was really strange, but quite a good getaway from Dane Start, even though he started on the slower compound tire. There was some incidents with looks like Bothy Dweller spinning round and getting collected, but as it turned out, that wasn't the case, as he jumped back up the field. But interestingly enough, the race kind of changed in the sense that as drivers made mistakes, lost their front wing, they had to come into pits. But we saw our first full safety car in the podium tier, which was pretty expected at Monaco.
Yeah, we were all thinking safety car might make a rare appearance, and it did. I think it was on lap 2 or lap 3, so quite early on in the race as well. So first time drivers had to deal with that. Obviously at Monaco, you're not under that much pressure, particularly into turn one on the restart. But yeah, if you get it a bit wrong, people can challenge. It's certainly an opportunity for guys to try and make positions. But as we know at Monaco, it's pretty hard to overtake no matter what, particularly into turn one.
Yeah, definitely. And as the race got restarted, let's have a look. Jonas, I was really impressed with Jonas. He went so long on that Hypersoft compound, 18 laps, Jono, on the quickest compound that Pirelli offer. And yeah, he was really, he didn't seem to fight when drivers came to pass him too much. He just kind of ran his own race. And I thought it was a really mature drive. And obviously he had a good finishing result. But as the race went on, Dane Stark came into the pits, and it was from then that his kind of race went downhill. Jorrit was doing a good job eking out time, but Dane Stark found a Boffy Dweller, and yeah, let's head to that if we can find it on the stream. Because I know there were a couple incidents where me and Sean, whilst we were live, were going, no. So I'm just at 43 minutes on the Podium Tier stream. We can see him heading down into the hairpin. And we spoke about this just off stream. There's contact there through the hairpin. That there was contact in the tunnel, which caused Dane Stark to lose his wing. From the moment I saw this battle, obviously Dane Stark was a lot quicker. I said this was going to end. Boffy Dweller was not letting him through. He was not going to let him through no matter what Dane Stark did. Boffy Dweller had the mindset, no matter how much time he loses, I'm not letting him through. Do you think that was the case? And if so, why do you think a driver would, have that kind of mindset when, perhaps they'd have an overall quicker race time if they were to let the quicker guy behind through?
Yeah, I guess just racing instinct got the better of Boffy Dweller in a way. He just thought, I'm going to defend his position. And obviously at Monaco, he's had a pretty good chance of doing that, even if he's slower, a fair bit slower than the car behind, which it looked like he was at that point in the race with Dane Starr on the fresh tyres. And yeah, for Dane Starr, it just didn't work out, did it? That pit stop put him out into traffic. You have all the pace in the world, but if you come behind another car who's defending pretty hard as Boffy Dweller was, there's just no way through. There's just nothing you can do. And he must have felt his race slipping away from him a little bit when he was just stuck behind him and couldn't go anywhere for quite a while.
Yeah, and you can just see the incidents, Jono. 45 minutes and 50 seconds was where the incident happened in the tunnel. Jonas obviously just ahead on those Hypersoft tires, but Dane Starr went for it, and if you're going to go side by side through the tunnel, you do take a certain risk, even if it's not your fault.
Yeah, you do. I've just paused it actually at 45.52, and there just isn't quite a car's width on the inside. Boffy Dweller given a little bit of space, but just not enough. There just isn't quite enough of a car's width. You can't blame Dane Starr for having a go. He's got a good run and probably thought it was as good a chance as any. But yeah, unfortunately, there was that little bit of contact and and wing damage by the look of it as well.
Well, we thought then Jorrit had the win in the bag because he obviously overtook Dane Starr before Dane Starr pitted, but then he made a mistake, had to pit again for wing damage, and Gaza, who started on a default setup, controlled the rest of the race. Ols had a penalty in second. We know that. Jonas was running the alternate strategy on those ultras because he took the hyper so long. So the second half of the race, there wasn't really much to commentate on, but it was just nice to see. Obviously, Gaza, I mentioned this on stream. He's liked around the paddock and the F1 TS Hub community, and that he did say earlier today on Twitter that winning around Monaco was surely his best highlight at F1 TS Hub.
Yeah, it was a great drive. I've seen a lot of people, congratulating him on Twitter this evening and what have you, after they've checked out his highlights. And it was just another mature drive from Gaz, wasn't it? We spoke to him the other week as well, and we know he's raced for a long time now, and it pays off, especially at tracks like Monaco. Just keeping your cool, driving to the pace you've got. And he might not have been the absolute, qualifying showed he perhaps wasn't the absolute quickest driver out there on Friday, but he had the race pace and he was consistent for the whole duration, and it got him the win, and it was well deserved in the end.
So Jonas moved up to second with Ols. His penalties. Jorrit continued his fine form, finished in fourth. Dane Starr did recover to finish fifth. So Didn't lose too many points in this championship battle. Boffy Dweller came across the line in 6th. The Renner boys having a busy pit crew, giving them lots of changes. Jamie came home in 8th. But overall, White Eagle had a pretty poor race. He really struggled. But yeah, I'm sure they'll be looking forward to heading to Canada. Definitely a driver favourite. All right, we'll leave the Pinnacle tier for a minute and we'll come to the Prestige tier. Odems, back from the hospital, on pole position.
Yeah, great to see. Yeah, brilliant lap from him. He sounded pretty surprised himself, but by a very small margin as well. So I bet he was absolutely thrilled to pull that out of the bag. And yeah, what a great way to return to the track.
Definitely. He didn't get the best start. Sayuza got him eventually as they headed down around the outside. Very impressive maneuver there. Kind of caught Odems napping a little bit on that opening lap, but nevertheless, Sayuza did his usual and just kind of just ruined his own race. So much speed, but just
Yeah.
seems can't put it together.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a theme, isn't it? I think the commentators mentioned it as well, that it just doesn't seem to be working out for him. He's got, like you say, he's got all the speed, but just can't seem to put a full race together at the moment.
And it was very interesting as the race went on. The top 4 all separated by a second and a half for about the last 10 laps, Jono. So it was intense battle. One mistake can, cost you a race win in potentially. But interestingly, MLA and Black Mamba, they pitted early, came out in clean air, and that's how they ended up first and second. So clever thinking from those guys.
Yeah, I guess you would say it's clever thinking and maybe an inspired strategy call. But with the game, you have very limited information about where other cars on track are, so you always rely on a little bit of luck. Obviously, we saw what we just said about Dainstar, pitting early and coming out straight into traffic with Boffy Dweller. Those guys did it and were able to exploit the pace of the new tyres, whilst Odems and Co at the front were on the more worn tyres, and when they pitted, they ended up behind. So I think Odems said he was a bit shocked to see them come out in front of him. But yeah, the strategy, you've got to be aggressive maybe at Monaco sometimes, and it worked out great for those.
Josh, decent result for him. Qualified 5th, finished on the podium. Elku, I believe his best finishing place in F1 TS Hub. And it just shows you, drivers can take advantage of when, some of the quicker guys slip up at tracks like Monaco. They really throw some interesting variables up where, the smallest of mistakes, as we saw Julian, he damaged his wing, I believe. He made, 3 pit stops. So he did well to recover to 5th. Noik also made 3 pit stops and recovered to 6th. So an interesting championship battle shaping up between these guys. Boogster on for a potential podium, but obviously, had the incident. But Jesse also he was running near the front for majority of the race. Good race for him. The commentators they're absolutely loving this, aren't they?
Yeah, they're absolutely loving it. I mean, how can they not really? They've just got literally epic battles to commentate on every single race. You just mentioned at Monaco how close those front guys were at the end. Often people get a bit spread out at Monaco in the final third of the race, but that wasn't the case in this tier at all. And you mentioned Alcu, it was a great drive by him. He was actually, quicker than the guys in front at the end as well. And had great pace. And Josh as well, who hasn't always had things go his way. Brilliant result for him to get P3, I think it was. So yeah, some good performances from quite a few of the drivers, you have to say.
Alrighty, let's get these Pinnacle boys into the lobby so we can have a chat to them. We'll also run through their Pinnacle race at the same time. So bear with me a second, everyone. I'm going to send them some invites. definitely have too many Formula One drivers on my friends list. It takes me forever to send out any invites. But if we turn our attentions to the pinnacle race, full wet qualifying, Hesky's first pole position, Pepsi Gamer out there on the front row, new boy Don Call as well. Fantastic to see those three guys make the top three.
Yeah, absolutely. And, bit of a different top three again. Impressive by Don Cool, Pepsi as well, obviously, but Heskey time as well. Last couple of races, he's obviously really coming into his own, and he's found some really good pace. I think he finished second, was it in Spain last week, and perhaps was the quickest driver for a large part of it. So great performance again by him to put it on pole.
And tell me, as the race went on, Don Call had it easy. Jono, were you secretly driving and commentating at the same time under a different PSN?
I wish it was a masterclass though by Don Cool, wasn't it? I think he lapped everybody bar one and was over a minute clear of the field. So absolute domination by him. And I'll just mention that I did predict that he would win at Monaco last week as well. So I got one right for once.
There you go. We're gonna have to start keeping track of this and make some sort of rivalry between it. But White Fountain continues his good form. He was behind Matt Your Daddy for a lot of the race, and when I was watching, I was thinking, oh no, because obviously they were in the steward's office from the previous round, but they kept it clean. He went on to finish second. Sam obviously had damage for a lot of the race. We'll ask him about that in a minute. He came home in third. Fourth for Matt. And Scorpion made up the top five from 15th on the grid as well. So congratulations to those boys. Pepsi Gamer, heartache for him, Jono, off the line.
Yeah, that was a real weird one. I haven't seen that before. He was gone way before the rest, and then obviously with his connection issues, eventually though at least he was able to rejoin and carry on. But obviously pretty gutting for him to have those sort of issues after starting on the front row of the grid.
And just shout out to Claddy Balloons. I watched his highlight videos. He did some amazing overtakes around Monaco. I was really just how clinical and clean they were as well. There was no contact. He was just really clean. Drivers gave him room. He was late on the brakes and able to get the job done. A few penalties though, to say the least. But Reflo obviously unlucky to him. He had the connection issue. Managed to get a point from his computer, but he will still be disappointed with that. All right, let me check if we've got everyone here. Yes, we have everyone here. So welcome to the Late Night Talk Show, guys. Just a reminder, we are live, so of course, no swearing. But we have from the Pinnacle tier, the Mercedes team, Reflo and Farth, and from the Ferrari, also from the Pinnacle tier, of course, we've got Sam and Matt. Now, this is I've been wanting to talk to you guys because obviously a championship battle is heating up between you guys. The Constructors' Championship is gonna, if it feels like as viewers, it's gonna go to the wire. First of all, we'll start with the Mercedes boys. Constructors title, Reflo, is it definitely something you feel your team can achieve?
Absolutely, yeah. We can definitely get it. Without a doubt.
And Farth, how about yourself? Do you think yourself and Reflo can beat the Ferrari guys? So tag along.
Do not, mate. Come on.
Alrighty, and same question to you, Ferrari guys. Sam, we'll start with you. Constructors title, definitely achievable, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be quite bad if I said no at this point. Yeah.
And Matt, yourself?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm focused on at the moment because I'm so far behind in the drivers.
Awesome. Someone's voice isn't shared, by the way.
It's fast, I believe.
So just under party settings, just click the allow voice to be shared. All right, guys. So questions. We'll start with you, Reflo. Disappointing disconnection in Monaco. Last couple rounds really haven't gone your way, have they?
Not at all, no. Obviously, we know what happened to Spain, but I don't really want to talk about that. Monaco, yeah, I had a pretty terrible quali. I did a okay lap, but then I was out on my second lap, and I was actually 8 tenths up on my previous lap time, which would have actually got me pole. And I was in sector 2, but I literally just touched the wall, and that was my wheel off, which obviously, that can happen in Monaco. And then the start wasn't too great. Pepsi having that jump start actually put me off a bit. But then I actually went into the back of Scorpion, I think, which it was just a complete racing incident. So at the pit, and obviously I think I came out like 16th or something, like completely last. And then after I was starting to get the rhythm in, putting in decent laps, my app just closed. It wasn't even a connection issue; it just closed on me, the app.
Oh, geez, unlucky. But you say you don't want to talk about it, but Flo, we have to talk about it. Obviously, it didn't go to the steward's office, but what were your thoughts on Spain? First of all, when it happened, how loud did you scream in the headset? And obviously, did your thoughts change once you saw different angles, or just talk to us about the incident with Matt in Spain?
Yeah, come and look about it. I think it was a racing incident. I don't think Matt would have done it on purpose. But yeah, obviously I was extremely annoyed because my start wasn't too bad. I just think the others had just a really good start. But then I think it was White, not Showman, I think it was. He kind of went into the inside, which I had to go wide, and then Matt came through, and then we just touched, and that was my race over. So it was very disappointing.
All right, Farth, the first couple of races for you were really good, but since then you seem to have struggled in qualifying. Jonah, do you want to just ask him about that?
Yeah, we obviously I commentate on Pinnacle every week, and it seems like qualifying has often gone pretty disastrously for you, to be honest. You've had a few, qualifying sessions where you haven't actually got a lap in. Do you think, what's the reason for that, and is it something you're going to look to put right as soon as you can?
Right, first things first, just to warn you, I got a screaming baby. The second things, yeah. To begin with, they're alright. Obviously, I've gone downhill from there. Something I'm looking into, but I'm just trying to help her the best I can.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And all right, Sam and Matt, we'll come to you, the Ferrari boys. Obviously, we spoke to you, Sam, about Matt's incident. Matt, talk us through that Spain incident from your point of view.
Yeah, I think Rufo's right. We sorted it out after the race. It was just a racing incident at the end of the day, I think.
And obviously a bad result, Matt, for Mercedes in Monaco. So you guys are gonna take quite a large lead in the constructors. What did I bet you were happy when you saw the results when they came up on screen on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I've had I think the past 2 or 3 races of DNF, so I needed something in this race. So I messaged Reflow beforehand, and I was just saying I'm going to go as slow as possible just to make sure I don't crash out, and I'll at least be somewhere high up the grid.
And did you and would you say, obviously you've raced at F1 TS Hub for a couple seasons, I believe. Would you say this is definitely your most enjoyable so far? I
think, to be honest, I enjoyed last season more just because I was doing better. This year, I'm so inconsistent, and I don't know. I feel I've got the pace, but I don't know. I feel like Sam last year because he started a bit slowly and then picked up, and this year, yeah. And
also, Ferrari boys, did you enjoy the result today in football?
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, I was in a league race as the game was on, so I almost crashed during it. I was telling Matt because it went mental at the end of the game. But yeah.
Matt, are you playing a supporting role to Sam for the rest of the season from round 7 onwards?
Yeah, I've resigned to the Kimi role. I am number 2 driver. Yeah, so that's my role. I'm just gonna back him up, try and get him to win the drivers, and obviously I'm gonna do my best to help in the constructors as well, which we've got a good lead in at the moment.
Is that the case if you're in P1 as well? Will you give away a race win to Sam if you need to, or is that different?
It probably not. I'm going to be honest. I mean, if it's the last race of the season and he needs it, then yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But obviously, I would like a win at some point in this league.
Do you have any other questions for them, John? Obviously, we were involved in back in season 6 and season 8 a quite turbulent title battle in the constructors. With season 6 it was Williams, and season 8 it was Manor, and it can really get heated to the point where you're rather than, for instance, when we used to do full qualifying those seasons, you're more focused on what those two drivers are doing, the other team, than the rest of the grid or yourselves. That was for you, John.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, I missed my name at the start there. Yeah, I mean, it can be stressful. Obviously, there was the incident, obviously, with Reflow and Matt. They both put it behind them, and hopefully, there won't be too many of that sort of thing. But here in Reflow as well, as soon as Nick asked, "Do you think you'd win the constructors?" It was just yes, and
100%.
the same from Sam as well. It's just yes, we can do it. Both teams sound pretty confident that you can win it. Do you think that's the working together closely as a team is going to be the key to prevailing come the end?
I definitely think. I think what will be interesting to see as the season goes on, whether mind games become involved, or team tactics. We've seen it in the past at F1 TS Hub. What was it, season 9 in Singapore, where I think Leo and Cliffy, where Leo behind the safety car, Leo shot off and Cliffy held the rest of the pack up. We'll start with you, Mercedes. Can you see yourselves if you have to get dirty within the rules, Reflow? Are you and Farf ready for that?
I mean, I get dirty with the Ferraris, yeah, but not the other teams.
Alrighty, and Farf, what about
100%.
you?
You can't give me real secrets. Secrets between me and Reflow, mate.
At the
Alrighty.
moment, we haven't had to, although you'd probably say Spain was being dirty within the rules, but it really wasn't. It was just a racing incident, but we'll see.
And what about off-track Ferrari guys? Jono, you remember this with yourself and Tenth Fear from Williams. You exchanged in your race reports. It became, any opportunity to try and get in the other team or the other drivers' heads. You did it, and you really felt the hatred almost towards the other team, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. It did become a real rivalry between me and Tem, but I think it always just about stayed. We never outright had a go at each other or anything, but we wanted to beat each other so much. And I did sort of play on that a little bit. Some people think mind games don't really make any difference, and when you're out on track, that's it. But I think it can make a difference. It can just put the other driver off, especially if they're racing you on track. It can just make them think twice, maybe try a bit too hard, overdrive the car, make a mistake. So I always thought, it certainly can't do any harm to build the pressure on the other driver. So if I ever had an opportunity to do that on temp, I did it, and I think it can make a bit of a difference over the entire season.
Reflow, do you reckon you might be able to get in the Ferrari boys' heads at some point during the season?
100%, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sam in Bahrain, he asked me, he said, how many stops am I going to do? And I deliberately told him I'm going to do the 2 stops, but I knew I was going to do the 1 stop. And as we all know, Sam did go on to the 2 stops, and I went on to the 1 stop and won the race.
That's fantastic. I love hearing stuff like this. Farth, do you and Reflow communicate during the race? And if so, do you know what each other's strategies are going to be heading into the race?
We haven't in a minute, but sorry, something about the future.
And carry on.
I speak to them before the race. Obviously, we have a little chin wags. Apart from that, we crack on with it.
And you're Littlin. What F1 team are they going to be supporting?
Mercedes all the way.
That's it. There we go. Mercedes all the way. Ferrari boys. Sam, you're in Reflow's head about your fast starts and how you do it. do you think you're going to be able to get in the Mercedes boys' heads as the season goes on?
I mean, I was going to mention the Bahrain thing already, and it's annoying, but it did work. With the start things, I don't think he'll figure it out. So I think we've got always that aspect ahead of them, and so far it's paying off. I don't think we need to do much more at the moment, but that might change.
I will figure it out.
Jono, any last questions for the boys?
I'm just loving this rivalry. It's obviously already apparent, and they both have taken on the team number one role and playing it up to each other. But so just makes it absolutely fascinating to see what's going to happen. I think and it's pretty early in the season as well. So although Reflow hasn't knocked you back, then that you've had a few not so great results, and that the championship lead has already drifted away from you, despite you having good pace early on. Are you confident you can put it back and that luck will balance out?
Yeah, I will put it back, 100%.
He's
Wow,
so
I've never known
confident.
such confidence.
How do you do that? If I head into a league race, I'd be shaking. We used to say that, didn't we, Jono? Like on the formation, like we'd feel like nervous. So you to the flow just seemed to be, just another day at the office kind of thing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Good stuff. All right. Last question from me then. Reflow, full stop in Canada?
Whoa, I'm not really sure. I haven't really done any practice yet, but I'm going for the win, and that's all I know.
Farth, Canada, is it a track that you think you can go well at?
Well, put it this way, I've done one league race, another league, and I've won it. So I know what to do. So, just watch
clear
out.
message to Ferrari. And Sam and Matt, yourselves, Canada, can you increase that championship constructors lead, or are you going to, the Mercedes boys going to bite back?
Well, I mean, it sounds like Reflow and Farthborough are quite confident, so third and fourth would be fine.
I mean, I'm going to have to disagree. That's a really terrible attitude to go for it. I mean, no, it's my home track. Come on. No, I think it might come down to. I remember last year we did a race and Bookster was in our tier and he jumped 3 positions at the end because of penalties. So I think could be key because it is a track that most people struggle to keep it clean. But pace-wise, I feel quite confident.
Alrighty, last one. Reflow and Farth, each of you, message to Ferrari for the rest of the season.
We're going to win.
Oh, that's toughy. Oh, watch and learn.
Watch and learn, I like that. Sam, Matt, Ferrari, message to Mercedes for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you're not going to win.
We'll see.
Alrighty, well, Jono, it sounds like, can I join you in can we switch? Can I join you can I do the Pinnacle tier for the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, I'm absolutely relishing this. We're going to be watching the battle, pretty intensely, I think, right to the end. Can I just ask quickly, who's on the wheel and who's on the pad, just out of interest for when I'm commentating?
We're all on the pad.
All on the pad. Okay, just so sometimes we say the pad might be better at a track and a wheel at another, but obviously all equal playing field there, all on the pad.
Yeah.
I've got both, but I use a whip pad more.
Okie dokie. Alright, well, thank you all 4 of you for joining us. Best of luck next week in Canada, and look forward to the next week's talk show and discussing how you all got on. Thank you for joining me again, Jono. It's been great. Thank you for everyone watching. I can't wait to see how the fireworks explode between the Ferrari and the Mercedes boys from the Pinnacle tier. We'll be live again on Friday for all 3 of our races at 7, 8 and 9 p.m. UK time. And then, of course, we'll be live on Sunday at 9:30 next week for the talk show. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next week.